Hello everybody, I'm putting this little video together. It actually comes from a comment that a viewer left on Unscrambled, but I'm gonna put their comment into a video. Basically they were talking a bit more about those corrugated things around the windows for the basement on Shanann Watt's house. That's what the subject was about to start with. And then they go on and they say, my husband is so sick about how involved I felt for this case. My husband was a volunteer on our town ambulance squad for over 20 years. He saw a lot of at first hand, and he is a volunteer fireman and police officer. On the day they were allegedly found Bella and Cece, I was asking him all sorts of questions. He asked me to please stop, that he was having nightmares over it. And he knew what his brothers and sisters in arms were going through that day. And they will never be the same, so that's what he was telling her. When I showed him the pictures they posted with the two firemen at the tanks, where they allegedly found the girls, he immediately said, that's not right. First of all, they should have had yellow tape letting people know it's a crime scene, and they should have had the caution tape up. And those vehicles parked there shouldn't be there. There should have been a tent to try and contain the fumes, and so only the first responders would see the girls, because when they pull them out it's going to be horrible. He said the fire trucks should have been there. They should have had foam all over the ground. The firemen wouldn't go in there without their fire gear equipment. They should have on white uniforms. With the headgear they should have their complete body protected head to toe. The fire trucks should be, and he showed me where. So the fire trucks were in the wrong place, and showed this person where the fire trucks should be. One where the cars were parked at, and the other outside the gate in case there was an explosion. Also, hazmat should have been there. Someone should have been watching the levels inside the tanks. And that's because the oil in the tanks gets really, really hot. They should have detoured the traffic in case of an explosion. There should have been like a shower set up for the firemen that went in those tanks. The tanks, both of them, should have been emptied. Employees should have been told not to go to that site, only maybe one or two employees should have been there. Police should have been all over the area. And once they got the little girls, once they got the oil off them, she should have been taken by the coroner immediately with police escort to make sure the coroner didn't get in an accident. There should have been 2 coroner cars there in case the tanks had different chemicals. He said actually they should have gotten a small sample of the fluids to see what type of chemicals they were dealing with. Remember when Sandy told Dr. Phil she had to put the girls in full-size coffins because they were wrapped in plastic, and how she had to pay extra to fly them back to NC. My husband said they would never have put those little girls on a plane, especially with passengers on it. He said either the coroner or the funeral director should have drove them to NC, possibly with a police escort. How they would do the police escort? They would have a car in front and a car behind to prevent them from being in any accidents. When I told him that this story wasn't real, he even said whoever came up with this storyline has a very sick mind. He even asked why would anyone want to put this version into anybody's head, let alone the whole world. And just to explain, at the beginning of the message the person said, my husband was a volunteer on our town ambulance squad for over 20 years. he saw a lot at first hand. He is now a volunteer fireman, fire police, and he now is a volunteer fire police on the day, yeah. So, very glad to see that someone else can see it's wrong. All I can say is they gave us so much information. We've got the whole discovery document. We've even got their autopsies. All the people's names and addresses. Videos galore from them. We have all that, but we don't actually have the truth. Because those autopsies do not match what would have happened to these children if they'd been left in boiling crude oil for 3 days. That stuff gets really hot in those tanks. Those tanks are pressurised, so just imagine what it'd be like in there. Because if those little girls were in those tanks for 3 days, always got to be a message, then they would have been boiled. Anyway, thank you very much for that comment, because I know exactly what you're saying, how that even your husband feels, and yes, there's just so much missing here, and I would love someone else to look into this case and see that so much is wrong. Anyway, some of these pictures here you'll see, you won't see any tape or anything. Everybody, come on, you didn't even notice there wasn't any tape. Anyway, reader, viewer, thank you so much for that. Mwah. I had to do this because some people are questioning me about some things that I said, and I'm going to try and be as kind as I can because this is to do with Bella. But basically, look here. Now, these are people talking about oil and in the tanks. And look at the word that's used most. Boiling. 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 What it is I think the oil might come up hot, but because it's in these pressurised tanks with the heat of the sun on it, makes the oil inside expand very hot. So basically that's why they do the thief hatch testing. Then they and yeah, that's why. But anyway, they're checking the temperature of the oil. Daily Mail, well, the Mail Online. Now this is what they said. This was supposed to be an exclusive read, but I mean, just look. Hazardous, 14 hours, pools of oil. They had to be taken off in pools of oil because their skin was coming off. So you can go back and read that. That, and the fact that at the end of the autopsy it talks about taking some swabs, is the only mention of the oil. That's it. Oh my goodness. I am glad, well, I'm not glad, but look through this autopsy. Basically, they're in remarkable condition. And how can that be when they've been... Well, I'm going to explain it in a minute. Anyway, so we get to Bella. Let's whiz down. Where are we? Where are we? Keep going. Going. There you go. Clothing. So basically they received in an unsealed body bag, and one of them, Bella, was wrapped in a sheet. Yeah, and it says oil soaked pink pyjamas, but I don't know why people aren't looking into this more and realising what is going on. But when you have a look at this, it took 14 hours to get them out. It was totally hazardous. Basically, their skin was falling off and the troopers could only spend minutes in there. They had to be taken away in pools of oil to preserve their bodies because that's what they'd been put through in these tanks. Well, the autopsy says absolutely nothing like this. And it says oil soaked pink pyjamas, but I'm sorry, I just don't see that it had been that simple to oil soaked pyjamas. Is that it? Is that it? What about Where's the report about sealed bags, skin falling off? Just the horrendous condition that these children would have been in for being in these oil vats, pressurised for 3 days. I'm really sorry, everybody, but they would have been cooked. And I just don't know how nice to say this. Yes, a few swabs and that, but where's all the information about the chemicals, about the toxins of the chemicals, about how they had to... The link to this video is below. Please, everybody, go and watch this video. It explains it. It's their video. Go and watch it. Amazing video. Now, this guy is explaining that the oil volume will be different depending on the temperature of the day. Okay, so the hotter it is, the higher the volume of the oil, and the cooler it is, the lower volume of the oil. Obviously, this video belongs to this company, so I can't play it. Anyway, the words that he says are, but that's why you need to watch it. Be sure to stand upwind of the thief hatch as it's opened. Take a good look at the oil. Is it boiling? If it is, you'll have to come back at a later date to work the tank. Anyway, it's not about the Watts case, that video. It's not about the Watts case at all. But what it does is, it will explain to you what the thief hatch is for, why they're testing it, and what the conditions are like inside the tank. So if you want to do some homework and research, you need to find and look and research, because then you'll know that what we've been told, what we've been shown, is not the truth. So everybody, I'm really sorry the children would have boiled away in those tanks. Boiled! Where is there any talk of it? And please go and watch the video. The link is below at the bottom of the post. Everybody's overlooking what would really have happened to those children. It would have been more than disgusting. It would have been absolutely horrific.